So what is the hottest trend in coin ring making today? Powder coat, baby, powder coat. We're gonna talk all about it. This is one you're not gonna wanna miss. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Like I said, we're going to be talking about powder coating, and I know this is one bag of snakes you'd like somebody to lay out straight, and I'm the guy to do it for you. We're going to talk about applying powder coating, giving you that beautiful two-tone look. It's the look everybody is after. But as a bonus, and by request, I'm also going to talk about coating an entire ring, getting the inside of a ring. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to apply some clear powder coating to seal a ring completely in clear powder coat. So that's going to be in the second half of this video. But to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to put some powder coat on a ring. We're going to show you how I do it, what tools I use, and we're going to go through it step by step all the way down to the sanding process and get it ready to ship out to my customer. So let's get right to it. All right, to begin the process, you're going to need your your ring, and it's got to be polished because I highly recommend using transparent powder coatings. You really need to work on the polished finish of the ring. This is going to make that transparent powder coat just explode. So I'm going to do a video later on my polishing technique, but for the interim, your ring just needs to be really highly polished. After polishing, it's time for a thorough bath with some Dawn detergent. This will help get rid of all the grease and grime. A little Scotch-Brite pad and some Dawn, and a very good thorough rinsing in some clear water. The ring is dropped into a clean paper towel, and this is the last time it will ever be touched by human hands until we're done. Gloves are must after this point. You're going to need an oven. I forgot to mention it earlier. A little toaster oven is fine, but it's going to need to be able to get pretty hot, at least 450 degrees. I'm going to pop this ring in the oven about 400 degrees for just a few minutes to burn off any moisture and any contaminants. While the ring is cooling down, it's a great time to set up your powder coating system. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to confuse you, so we'll just do that a little bit later. Okay, the ring is thoroughly cooled down. I'm now going to thread it onto my silicone plug. I did an entire video on how to make these suckers, so watch that video, and we're going to slide the ring down snugly onto the plug and over the connection points. Now we're going to mask off parts we don't want to be powder coated. We're going to use heat tape. You can buy this on Amazon. It's usually used in the t-shirt industry, but you can buy big rolls of it on Amazon for fairly cheap, and I'll put a link to it below. I always mask off the reeded edge. I think it just looks really nice. So I'm going to be very, very careful to mask off as much of the reeded edge as I can, making sure not to mask off any of the background of the coin. Take your time with this part. As a matter of fact, take your time with the entire process, because that's really going to make or break you on powder coating. So be careful, use extra pieces of tape, do whatever it takes. Be very neat and thorough. And here's about what the tape job on the reeded edge should look like. Now, since this is a Morgan, it's got some wings I'm going to want to tape off. I stretch a little piece of the tape between my fingers, and I'll cut it at about a 45-degree angle, and that'll give me the two pieces I need to tape off the two different wing tips. This can be a fiddly job too, especially because the tape keeps trying to curl, and you really don't want to mask off anything that shouldn't be. So you need to be really careful. Take your time, get it right, redo it if you have to. Here's a ring, clean, attached to the silicone plug, and properly masked off, ready for powder coat. Alright, now we can set up the powder coating system.
We'll get out our charged brush, which I showed you how to make in a different video, so make sure you watch it. We'll get out our powder coating system. A lot of people have great success with the Harbor Freight one. I prefer the dual voltage system from Eastwood. I think it's worth the extra few bucks that you have to pay. Sometimes it is like wrestling an octopus with all these different cords, but it's not too complicated. Just be careful with it. Get everything all stretched out. Put the control box back out of the way. Find your power cord in this mess. That's actually the trigger. I think this might be the power cord. Success. We'll take it over and we'll plug it in. Maybe. Okay, yeah, we got it. All right. This is the electrode that will connect to the ring. So I just use my arbor press and I just kind of hang the ring from that. So I'll wrap the cord around it to keep it out of the way. Now I'll take the gun and I'll put it back out of the way somewhere because we don't actually use the gun. We just use the little tip of the gun. Just the tip. All right, now we take our charged brush alligator clip and we're going to clip that to the tip of the powder coating gun. And we're going to uncoil that thing because it can be a little unwieldy. And here's my tub of powder coat. Give it a little bit of a shake. Today I'm going to be using a transparent gold. This always makes for a fabulous ring in gold and silver. Alright, I'm going to hang the previously prepared ring on the end of my arbor press handle. And I'm going to take the connector from the powder coat gun system and connect it to the hanger. And we are ready to do some cooking. Here's a little bit better look at what we have going. With trigger in hand, here comes my favorite part of the entire process. Slather the brush inside the powder coat, get a nice heavy load, bring it up close to the ring, but don't touch it, and pull the trigger. And just watch that powder jump across onto the ring. It's almost magical. If you have a little bit too much and it's not hopping across, just flick the brush lightly with your finger, and that should get it to hop over. As you can see, we're wasting very little powder. We're not making a big, huge mess. The powder is going straight over to the ring. It's putting a beautiful fine coat on the ring. This is a great way to do this. Even though I'm past the point of touching the ring anymore, you'll notice I'm still wearing rubber gloves. Why? I really don't want to get electrocuted. We are messing around with electricity after all. And I just don't want to touch anything the wrong way and get a zap. This'll light you up pretty good. So I highly recommend still wearing rubber gloves, being careful what you touch. There you have it. A ring with a beautiful layer of powder coat, ready for the oven. All right, we're going to ignore the manufacturer's suggestions on powder coating for time and temperature here, because the first thing we're going to do is flow the powder out. So I'm going to turn the oven on to 400 degrees, turn it on, and only leave it on long enough for the powder to liquefy. So you have to kind of watch it. As soon as it liquefies, and you'll see it, as soon as it does that, turn the oven off, open the door, and let it cool off. As you can see, sometimes a flashlight is a help. And you can see the ring starting to get darker. That means we're right about there. Keep watching. You'll see it. You'll know. It'll look liquidy, shiny. You can't miss it. Just keep watching. Can you see the difference? Right about here. We're pretty much done. I'm going to give it another minute or so. Don't go too far or it's going to be a bear to sand. Total time at 400 degrees, that was only a couple minutes, maybe 3. So we'll turn the oven off, open the door, and let it cool down. Now I don't let it cool off too long before I go in and fish it out, because I want to get the tape off. I don't want that powder coating getting too hard before I try and peel the tape off. The tape can get kind of brittle, so the wings pull off pretty easy. But I'll take a little razor knife and I'll kind of put a slit in the tape at the top of the ring, so I have a place to kind of start peeling it off with. Alrighty, and here you have it, the ring with powder coating on it. Now this powder coating is not cured yet. It's still kind of fragile, but it's not going to just fall off. So we can actually work with it and sand it and do everything we have to do to finish it up before we cure it. I'm going to cool it off in a little bit of water, just a little bit more. Then I'm going to pop it off of the silicone plug. And here's where the real artistry of powder coating these rings comes in. You can get these sanding sponges, Sally Supplies, pretty much any makeup place. They're for fingernails. They work great for this. I start by giving the entire surface of the ring a very, 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 very light overall sanding, so that the entire surface is treated equally. Then I go back around and start paying attention to every detail piece by piece. Here you can see me literally using just the very edge of this sanding sponge to focus on each individual letter. One letter at a time, around and around we go. Keeping the sponge wet, keeping the ring clean so I can see what I'm doing. This is fine, fine detail work. Take your time. If you go too far, too fast, you will burn right through this thin layer of powder coating and ruin the ring. Here you can see what we're after. Two-tone ring. Have a spot that's giving you fits? Stop. Leave it alone. After you're done with the sanding sponge, you can always take an X-Acto knife and do some detail work and kind of scrape away little pieces that are giving you a hard time. This is a Morgan and it has a lot of leaf work around it. Leave some of the details in the leaves. It just makes it more interesting. You don't need to get every little piece of the gold off where the silver details are. Leave some of it in places where it's like a shadow or a highlight. You'll notice we never masked off the cut edge, so make sure that you sand that back down. Get all of the polish off the cut edge. Also, you have to pay attention to the inside of the ring. Did any powder get in there? You better get it off now or it's going to become a permanent part of this ring. I also like to give the cut edge just a nice little once around at about a 45-degree angle to give it a nice little shiny ridge. I can't say it enough. This is really where you're going to be successful or you're going to fail. You have got to do this with a meticulous, light touch. And there you can see it. All the details have been sanded out. It's looking really, really good right now. I'll wash it off in nice clean water, and we're ready to cure this sucker. Now, the powder coat that you have will come into instructions for curing. You got to remember, it's already been in the oven for, 3 minutes? So we have to take that into account. But we also have to understand that if we cure this too long, too hot, the ring is going to yellow, and we don't want that to happen. So I cure almost all of my rings at about 350 degrees, and I do it for about another 15 minutes above and beyond what it took to flow the ring out. So this is going to go into the oven, 350 degrees for 15 minutes, which is about 5 minutes longer than the manufacturer's suggestion, but it's also 50 degrees less temperature. When we're done, turn it off, let it cool off. The powder coat's going to be hard as nails, and it's going to look beautiful. Take the ring, go polish it up, give it a final shining, and package it up for shipping. I had a special request to show how to put clear powder coat on the inside of the ring. So we're just going to powder coat this entire ring in clear powder coating. Get yourself some of these bull clips from a stationery supply store. You're going to need a couple of these. I keep a bunch of them in different sizes around. You're going to need a ring, of course, and some clear powder coating. Take the spring clip part off the paper clip, and that's going to be what's going to hold your ring. Just simply take it, wedge it inside your ring, and it will push outwards and hold the ring. Voila. There you go. Instant holder. The entire ring will now get powder coating on it. If you wanted to just do the inside, just wrap the outside with some of the heat tape. Now I'll just get a little ancillary piece of wire so I can hang it from the arm of my arbor press. And I'm going to do exactly like I did when I put the gold powder coat on. Here I'm going to be using gloss clear. Yes, they do have matte clear. So we'll get that opened up. My setup is all the same. It kind of helps if you remember to connect the electrode to the ring, which I didn't, so I'll fix that right here. Hey, I'm getting old. I forget stuff. All right, put that on there. There's our electrical connection. Be gentle. We are ready. Okay, I got my trigger, got my charged brush, which I blew out with some compressed air. And I'm getting a nice healthy load of the clear powder coating. Get near to the ring and trigger it, and look at that magic. Wow, that is amazing. Inside, outside, it is just going everywhere on that ring. It is giving it a perfect, even coat all the way around, inside and out. Super, super that easy. And here you can see a perfectly clear powder-coated ring ready for the oven. Now, we're going to stick this in the oven. And since it's not going to need any sanding, you would think to yourself, I could just go straight through the entire heating process and cure the powder. Well, I don't. I'm going to flow the ring just as if I was going to sand it. So I'm going to turn the oven on to 400 degrees for a few minutes and wait for the powder coating to flow out. Then I'll turn it off, open the door, and let it cool off. Again, a good flashlight can make it easy to see that powder starting to flow and liquefy. That's about when you know it's time to turn off the oven. So why am I doing this? Why didn't I just go straight through the time and cure the ring? Well, because I'm a little bit of a worrywart spaz. I'm worried that the two connection points from the clip can leave two little pinholes in the clear coat on the inside, which could make it uncomfortable to wear or allow your finger to discolor. So I flow the ring, let it cool, and now I will take it off of the clip, reposition the clip, and then finish the process of curing the powder. That way the little pinholes that were there can flow and fill in. Call me hyper, call me a spaz. It's just how I do it. I worry about it, and I don't want to have an issue. Cutting back on your time with a silver powder coating is even more vital than it is using the colored powder coats. If you overcook this and yellow your ring, you're going to have a yellow ring. So it's really, really important. Again, I go at about 350 for a total elapsed time of about 17 minutes. And there it is, powder coated inside and out.
Okay, so in a nutshell, that is all the secrets of powder coating. The devil is in the details, especially in the sanding. You have to be infinitely patient and delicate with that process, or you will go right through this very thin layer of powder coat that we're applying. If you're patient and soft and use a gentle hand, you're going to have great success, and you're going to have beautiful two-tone rings. Again, I highly recommend transparent powder coats. I think they really make the rings pop when you're done. Unless, of course, you're doing something like black, which, by the way, is a fabulous color. A non-transparent red also works too, but transparent reds are also really beautiful. So, you know, it's kind of up to your own personal taste. I think the transparents are the best. Now, as to clear powder coatings. Okay, well, first of all, I should tell you, they do make it in gloss. They make it in matte finish, believe it or not. And this is a ring that I did as a test. Okay, this was made for myself. This is a plain old cupronickel Kennedy $50. Okay, and I made this ring and I powder coated it inside and out, just like you saw me do here in this video. And then I took this thing and I wore it for about 2 months out on the tarmac at McCarran International Airport loading aircraft. Now, granted, I wore gloves, but it was still hard physical labor, loading suitcases, working with heavy machinery and what have you. And I wore this ring every shift with no ill effects whatsoever. It looks as good as it did the day that I made it. And interestingly enough, it is the most comfortable ring I have. The powder coating actually softens the inside of it and makes it feel really, really good on your finger. Now, have I had any reactions? Zero. Does that mean somebody won't have reaction? No, it doesn't. But this is such a common product. It's on everything in your house. It's on your refrigerators, your stoves. It's everywhere. And I think it's probably a pretty safe material. That doesn't mean somebody couldn't have a reaction to it. But they could just as equally have a reaction to, Renaissance wax, Protect the Clear, or anything else that you may or may not put on your rings. In fact, coins aren't made to be worn against your skin all day long either. You could just have a bad reaction to wearing a coin. So I think the risks are about similar and the rewards are through the roof. Now, I will tell you, it does kind of give the ring a little bit of a different look, but it's going to be up to you to experiment and decide if it's something you like. But I really see that as being kind of the wave of coin ringing, as it's going to protect our rings and the hard work we put into the finishes. All right, so in the end, don't be afraid to try powder coating. I think you're going to find it really rewarding. And as a side note, you can powder coat any metal that you have once you've got this going, okay? I made a bracelet, a paracord bracelet, for the Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team. And I took a bead and I altered it a little bit and I gold powder coated it. And it came out fantastic. So once you have this skill set, you're going to find other uses for it, I promise you. All right, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, ask any questions, make any comments you have down below. I am going to get out of here because, believe it or not, it is Thanksgiving Day. I am going to go scarf some Grimace and Portions and maybe take a nap with my pants off on the couch. It's going to be a beautiful day. I can't wait to get into all of that. All right, this has been Paul from Fat Guy Productions. I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, be good.